Straight to the point, sports and entertainment. When you come through here, I want you to hit that like button. Also, sub to the channel if you're not a member. Hit them notifications too to get all of my content. And also, share this video too, okay? Um, Salute to the whole entire Lions Den basketball and boxing committees. Or community. I'm saying committee, but nevertheless they committee too, but community. And also want to give a shout out to all of my subs that's been rocking with me, my day ones, and as well as my new subs too as well. All right, we sticking with hoops. I also want to give a shout out uh, to the Pull Up Podcast with BJ. All right. Um, if you're not sub to the Pull Up Podcast, definitely go sub to his channel. Got real dope content over there. Uh, Definitely, BJ is full of a lot of knowledge. He's a Clippers fan too as well, holding it down for the Clippers too. One of the many fans that that they, some of them aren't real fans, but then you have some real true diehard Clippers fans, not just because certain players came over there or they trying to flip the script just to hop on a boat because another team ain't doing as good or something like that. But nah, he's a Clippers fan, but definitely go check out his content. Uh, Salute to BJ. Now, reason why I gave the Pull Up Podcast a shout out is because he had talked about a good discussion, which I think a lot of people really don't know the true situation that had happened, why Kobe ultimately failed to get a sixth ring and was unable to meet his goal of 8 rings. He wanted to get out of the game with 8 rings. That was his goal. Okay, and of course, his ultimate goal was to pass Michael Jordan. Okay, salute to you, Cottage. I see you in here. Make sure y'all go sub to Cottage too. Now, um, one of the reasons why, and I'm gonna go through a couple things, and these are key things and key reasons, as well as many others, why Kobe Bryant was not able to obtain a seventh, sixth, seventh ring, and his goal of 8 rings. Okay, uh, first and foremost, the biggest reason why. Okay, and I think the most crucial reason why was Jerry West leaving. Um, as you know, Jerry West left in '02, and the reason why he did leave was because he pretty much, uh, him and Jenny Buss did not see eye to eye, and he also did not agree with the relationship that Jenny Buss was having. What's up, Ted? With Phil Jackson at that time. Okay. Um, Plus a few other things too as well. You know what I'm saying? And uh, they didn't particularly care for Jerry West's way of doing things in terms of how intense he was for winning, which I think is bullshit. Because if it wasn't for Jerry West was responsible for he was responsible for ushering in Showtime. What's up with it, Angelo? I see you in here. He was responsible for ushering in Showtime and ultimately building Showtime. And then also he created, the Shaq Kobe duo, which ultimately led to them uh, three-peating. And building a powerhouse there, which, believe it or not, they really don't give that much credit to Jerry West. They like to say, like, it was the organization that did it, but we all know that it was Jerry West that took a chance on making that trip, to get Kobe. Everybody thought he was nuts. We all know the whole story and everything. You said, April, I think that Mr. Jerry West was the one who signed Shaq back in 90. Yeah, he was. He was. Yeah, Shaq was there to Mr. West. Yeah. He was. But that's a given. We all know that. But the primary reason why I have to bring that up is because, see, he was an architect. You know what I'm saying? He was such a good architect that people really didn't see the direction that he was going. They would doubt him at first, and then when it ended up working, then people started to see, okay, there is a method to his madness and everything. And that's what Jerry West. That's why they called him the architect. You know what I'm saying? He pretty much was, able to design everything. That's what an architect does. Is they build things. Engineering, that sort of thing. And that's what Jerry West had brought to the table. And when they lost Jerry West and he went elsewhere, I think that sort of kind of went to a downward spiral. You know, they they eventually, they were able to go ahead and they were able to win um, in in 2000 9 2010 and everything, but it was a long grueling process, especially after the Shaq and Kobe era. A little bit later on, though, we also got to talk about this, and I don't think people really throw this factor in there either. Now, there were a couple of key teams that had gotten better during that time. Of course, the Suns, they got better, okay, especially when you consider the ushering in of the 7 seconds or less and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying, with D'Antoni, even though that they didn't go nowhere. You know what I'm saying? They didn't go to like no finals or nothing like that. They had their chances, but they were still somewhat of a threat. Hold on. All right. Now, sorry about that. Listen. And what did you say? You said Kobe 5 and 6 was something special. Yeah, he was something special. Okay, he was something special. Um, Another thing is, man, that a lot of people don't talk about. The reason why, what played a big part in Kobe not being able to get his goal was the fact that in the Western Conference there were teams that got stronger. I had already mentioned the Suns. The Suns, they got stronger, even though that they weren't, they were contenders, but unfortunately they weren't able to make the finals. Okay, they just never could get over the hump. All right. Uh, of course, they always ran into they were commonly running into the Spurs. Then the Mavericks got better, the Spurs got better, the Thunder were emerging, and then of course with the Heat coming through the door too. because you got to remember, D Wade and Shaq, they actually won on Kobe's watch. Okay, they won on Kobe's watch. They won in '06. That was, of course, D Wade's first title and Shaq's fourth title and everything like that, in which we all know that story. uh, D Wade had pretty much carried that team. Then uh, in 20, see, there was a situation, there was a shift. Okay, uh, they lost Fisher. Eventually, they lost Fisher. Okay, um, even though I don't like Fisher on a personal level, I think he was a valuable role player. Of course, they had a few other role players that had departed from the Lakers too, that weren't that were there, from the beginning. That also played a big factor, which put more stress, on Kobe. He was also Kobe was playing through injuries too. Sometimes he wouldn't even mention the injuries. I mean, some of them were mentioned, some of them weren't. He was the type of guy, man. Let's say he'll sprain his ankle, he'll be right back out there. We also got to remember he did break his ankle too. I forget what year it was. He broke it like on a rebound. Either he fractured it real bad or broke it. But that kept him out too. Then of course we all remember the finger. Just a lot of wear and tear. Then another thing is that they couldn't get CP3. Okay, remember now that's something that the brother Ticket, he always brings up. You know what I'm saying? He always brings up, and that is a very that probably would have been possibly. I'm not saying that it would have, but it possibly would have got Kobe maybe another ring or two. Okay? That trade didn't get vetoed. Okay, with CP3. We all know. There's a lot of conspiracies with that. I don't think that they wanted Kobe to win anyway, but it is what it is. And then instead they they got Nash and they got Howard. And then of course, you got D'Antoni. D'Antoni can't coach for nothing. Okay. He just wasn't a Phil Jackson type. He wasn't no Phil Jackson, wasn't no Pat Riley, he wasn't any of that. You said, and I remember when Steve Nash was on 7 Seconds of Left. Yeah, and he came over there to the Lakers. Okay, Nash was old, and then of course they got Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard was hurt, and Dwight Howard was weak. Okay, he was hurt. He was hurt, and he was weak. Okay, he was weak-minded. He had issues with his shoulder, and the reason why he was weak-minded is because he could not. He didn't have the competitive fervor that Kobe Bryant had. You got to remember, man, Kobe Bryant was no nonsense. He didn't. If you came through the door, he was trying to get him to play championship basketball. And on top of that, Dwight Howard should have listened to Kobe because he beat Kobe in the finals. You said CP3 played 4 seasons with the Hornets before the trade in LA with the Lakers. Was supposed to happen, man. Yeah, he did. He did, but nevertheless, they weren't able. They were not able to get. Uh, they weren't able to get CP3, and that was a big thing. You know what I'm saying? Them not getting CP3. Um, so you know, it was a combination of that. It was injuries. It was lineup issues. It was bad coaching. Um, Kobe had to do a lot, especially I would say between the years of pre between I would say it was 2000, 2005, 2006. Like you said, Ted, you were talking about how 2005, 2006, Kobe, and then '07 through 12, they pretty much, they started to kind of build for him and stuff. But nevertheless, that still kind of put some wear and tear on him because we're talking about them repeating, the Lakers repeating and everything. Um, Kobe pretty much had to do everything and put a lot of wear and tear on him, on his body. Okay. Also, the Lakers organization, I would say, after that fifth championship, they didn't do I felt as good a job as they could have trying to sustain that winning powerhouse that they had. They possibly could have three-peated had they kept because they still kept some of the guys there. You know what I'm saying? Uh, you had the Pau Gasol, you had a few others there and stuff. They pretty much had kept kind of their core there, but we also got to remember that Kobe's body, with injuries and stuff like that, it started to betray him. And then also another thing that I think doesn't get talked about a lot too is that the Lakers, and they're going through it right now. Like they've always rebuild, 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 rebuild. Like when you rebuild, you actually set your team back a few years. Everybody knows that. But see, they kept rebuilding. They were trying to get away. They got away from that Shaq and that Kobe era or whatever. That took some time. Then once they started to kind of get that mold and that nucleus again, I'd say between '07 and 12. Well, of course, throughout the mist, they were able to get that championship. You know what I'm saying? But it took them some time. Okay. Then of course you had 2011, and then 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015. And then eventually, okay, then you had to usher in the whole LeBron era and all that other stuff or whatever, which they were trying to rebuild themselves or whatever, and they're still going through that right now. So they've never been like and this is just my humble opinion, okay? When they let key guys go in the front office, like a Jerry West and even, Magic Johnson. Now I know Magic Johnson, okay, he didn't really get a chance to really flex his muscle like he wanted to. Okay. When we talk about Mitch, we talk about a lot of these guys that were there. They never were able to really steer on track. Listen, they got a ring. They got a ring in 2020. But just like the championships that people talk about with Kevin Durant, back to back, that's not being respected. A lot of people don't respect the 2020 championship. Now, I'm not trying to go off the rails because this is about Kobe. You say, hey, Magic Johnson was there when Luke Walton was coaching Brody. Yeah, but still, we have to look at this. They hadn't won a championship, a true title, since 2009, 2010. That's when people really count the title. I know some people, they gonna get mad when I say that, but really be honest, they wouldn't be criticizing it as much as they would if because they don't say nothing about the title, when they repeated, in '09, '10. They definitely don't say nothing about the early, the Kobe and Shaq titles when they three-peated, and they definitely don't say nothing about the Showtime era either. They don't even talk about in terms of criticizing that title. So we have to, we got to call it, carve it straight down the middle, and so, like I said, man, it was a combination of a lot of things, but I think just in my humble opinion, the big factors were Jerry West leaving, and also a couple of teams getting stronger, and then of course, Kobe's body betraying him because he put in so much hard work. He worked he worked his body to the bone to try to do, and not only just physically but as well as mentally too, because you gotta remember he was up, studying film, doing things like that. Also 2009, they beat the Magic. Yeah, they did. They beat the Magic in 2009. That's what I was just saying a few minutes ago. That's why I felt like Dwight Howard should have fell in line to listen to what Kobe was saying. Now, I know Dwight Howard, his shoulder was killing him and stuff like that, but he should have fell in line to what he should have bought into what Kobe was trying to sell him, but he didn't want to do it. Just like Kareem said, he had problems with Dwight Howard too, because he was being stubborn. So, but yeah, I mean those were a lot of the reasons right there. I wasn't trying to make this like a long, long video, but a lot of people they just think, oh yeah, well, they didn't win, you know, because of outside reasons or whatnot, but or it was just one specific reason. I think it was a combination of a lot of different reasons why the Lakers, why Kobe wasn't able to get his seventh championship. You know what I'm saying? So uh, I thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure y'all like the video, share it, subscribe, hit the notifications too. Straight to the point, sports and entertainment. At y'all later.